You look very relaxed, Joey.
Some of the things that Zelensky said, particularly when Zelensky questioned him, well, what kind of diplomacy do you mean, JD? Vance didn't like being challenged, it seemed like, and then went after him. And then that triggered Trump. Trump then joined in, as you saw in that clip. So, ambush or not, it's worth remembering that JD Vance said very clearly in 2022 when he was running
posts that President Zelensky put out, which seemed to be answering J.D. Vance directly. We can put it up on your screen. Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and...
Through a phony witch hunt where they used him in Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony...
To you,
I want a ceasefire
guarantees.
because you get a ceasefire faster than feel very
You will
good.
feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you.
strong.
Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what they call...
So tough, but you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I will respond to this. So look, For 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied it, our parts, big parts of Ukraine, parts of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014
2014.
and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire, all of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Did you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From
yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the
the
cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm
with
the
the lives
president
of
in war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
What do you think
You're
about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
It's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
you.
Far more than a lot of people said
Very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting, have
today.
you said thank you?
Even today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
you have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You haven't been
not
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid
thank-
president, $350 billion.
You
We
voted
gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me.
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of
Except
times
that there-
thank you
except
to
that-
American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't play
you're
this,
running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you can get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying
said-
you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire.
guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what
That wasn't with me.
It
That was
wasn't
with
with
a
you.
guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make,
Um,
because the attitudes have to change.
what if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What will we do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
What if
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
Well, what if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break it with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together. We'll see, I don't know.
Right here is a still image of the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States during that exchange. Her head in her hands. Joining us now, NBC News Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Engel, Chief White House Correspondent for the New York Times, and MSNBC political analyst Peter Baker, New York Times opinion columnist and Russian-American journalist Masha Gessen, and Punchbowl News co-founder and MSNBC political analyst Jake Sherman. Peter, I'm going to begin with you. A lot has happened since that moment. President Zelensky was kicked out of the White House by Donald Trump, told to come back when he's ready for peace. There was a 4 p.m. event that he was going to attend in Washington. That has been canceled. And the Financial Times is reporting that he's been on what I imagine are emergency calls with the French President Macron and also the NATO Secretary Mark Rutte. That, in addition to a tweet, an X, a post that President Zelensky put out, which seemed to be answering J.D. Vance directly. We can put it up on your screen. Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that. Peter, beyond the immediate consequences, what are going to be the cascading consequences after that meeting?
Well, this is a stunning just spectacle. I've been covering the White House now since 1996, with the exception of 4 years that I was in Moscow. We've never seen anything like this on camera between an American president and a leader of another country, particularly another country that is an ally, that actually is at war with invaders trying to literally wipe it off the map. This is unprecedented in my experience anyway, and I think it blows up the relationship for the moment. What it says is that Donald Trump is more sympathetic to Vladimir Putin, who he expressed solidarity with in that clip you just showed. We went through the Russia hoax together, he says, than he does feel with President Zelensky, whose country was attacked and invaded in 2014, as he pointed out originally, and then later, of course, full-fledged in 2022. You have never seen President Trump in 10 years in public life say one word about Vladimir Putin that came anywhere close to what you saw today he's saying to President Zelensky. And I think that suggests that America, after all these years of supporting Ukraine, has essentially signaled that it's switching sides.
Masha, what did you take away from that?
I'm sorry. What can we take away from that? We have we saw a complete disaster unfold. We know that Putin has toughened his stand in the last weeks, although actually has been fairly clear all along. Not only does he not is he not particularly interested in peace with Ukraine, but he will not even consent to a ceasefire when that allows him to keep any that doesn't allow him to take more of Ukraine than he has already occupied. And his demands are basically that either Ukraine is partitioned and the rest of Ukraine is demilitarized and denazified, where he is using language that is a copy of the language that was used by the Allies after Germany was defeated in World War II. So he'd use this as being handed Ukraine, and then the rest of Europe. He has also made that clear.
Masha, the playbook for Donald Trump is pretty obvious, and most foreign leaders know it. Go there, flatter him, gently push back if you need to, but be careful and keep your mouth shut. Obviously, Volodymyr Zelensky is in a different situation. He is at war. It is more emotional for him. It is more visceral for him. It's more stress for him. And this is an important moment for him, especially after Donald Trump's been going around talking about how Russia is the victim here and Volodymyr Zelensky is the dictator, just flipping everything on its head. That being said, why don't you think he came in and played the part that other foreign leaders have played? Do you sense a change?
Foreign leaders are not staring down the barrel of the gun. Other foreign leaders are not facing the loss of millions of people who are currently under occupation, millions more people that Putin is demanding to occupy, and with no security guarantees. What he was trying to bring up was the threat that Putin poses not only to Ukraine but to the rest of Europe. And Trump, who actually doesn't have a leg to stand on in negotiations with Putin, attempted to put him in his place. What Trump clearly expects is that Putin will be able to take whatever he wants because Zelensky will admit that he is powerless. Zelensky, on the other hand, is a democratically elected president who feels and fulfills his responsibility to his country, and he's not going to give it up to a strongman.
Peter, some people are wondering if this was an ambush by J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, that this was their intention all along. What can you say about that dynamic?
Well, look, Senator Lindsey Graham came out here in the White House driveway a few minutes ago and said that he had warned Zelensky against taking the bait, which suggests that there was going to be bait, right? We don't know that it was an ambush, but it kind of felt that way at times. It looked like Vance was spoiling for a fight, that he was a little peeved at some of the things that Zelensky said, particularly when Zelensky questioned him, well, what kind of diplomacy do you mean, JD? Vance didn't like being challenged, it seemed like, and then went after him. And then that triggered Trump. Trump then joined in, as you saw in that clip. So, ambush or not, it's worth remembering that J.D. Vance said very clearly in 2022 when he was running for the Senate, I don't care what happens in Ukraine. I think that's a direct quote. He has never been a supporter of Ukraine. He has always been an opponent of aid to Ukraine. And obviously, you know, he played that out here in the Oval Office. I don't think I can remember, by the way, any vice president, even Dick Cheney, who was often said to be the real power behind the throne during the George W. Bush administration, I don't remember any vice president inserting himself into a foreign leader meeting like that, directly assailing the leader of an ally, and then, of course, getting his own president kind of worked up. Most interestingly, of course, since then, and you asked what happened since then, is, of course, when Senator Graham came out and talked to us, one thing he said was that Zelensky now should resign or change. Now, that's not a quote from the White House, but the White House sent Senator Graham out onto the driveway, knowing what message he probably was going to deliver. And I think that tells you just where the state of the relationship is right now.
Yeah, and Donald Trump saying he's a dictator, he hasn't held elections, that's certainly sending a signal, a message that the White House wants somebody different there. Obviously, Vladimir Putin would want somebody different there as well. Richard, I know you want to weigh in on this. But my big question is, what does Europe do? Does Europe stick by this alliance with the States? I mean, does Europe more forcefully break away from the States after a meeting like this?
Well, I think this was a disaster for everybody involved except for Vladimir Putin, who was clearly watching this with great delight. Vladimir Putin was a little bit nervous about the way, or seemed to be a little bit nervous about the way things were going. And as President Zelensky and President Trump were talking about this mineral deal, and it seemed to be making some progress again, we saw Putin weighing in, saying, well, we have minerals, we can play, we're open for business as well. But now Russia watched the Trump and J.D. Vance overshout Zelensky, an ally in need who was coming there to try and sign some sort of economic agreement, then gets thrown out and humiliated. There's no doubt that European leaders and other leaders around the world are watching this and thinking, well, they could be in that same position if they were ever in a position of weakness and they ever needed American help. So there's a lot of talk these days about Europe having not only to step in to take up some of the slack for Ukraine, which it has been trying to do, and we saw that visit from President Macron, but also Europe needing to have more autonomy so that it doesn't face, it never finds itself in the position that Volodymyr Zelensky found himself today. And watching that, and I've never seen anything like this either, I kept having that same question. Was this a setup? Or was this just a meeting that went badly? That, as you said, President Zelensky took the bait. And when he started talking about, we still need security guarantees. Yes, we'll sign this mineral deal, but don't forget security guarantees because Russia's going to come and invade us again. J.D. Vance chimed in and said, you don't get it. Your role here is to be quiet, to sign, and say thank you. And President Zelensky wasn't comfortable in that role, and then it escalated and escalated. And I agree with Baker. I think this is probably the beginning of a new kind of relationship where President Trump starts to consider Zelensky, not Putin, the enemy.
I have so many questions, Richard, and again, I've never seen anything like that either. I mean, obviously, with Donald Trump, you know what to expect, and that it's going to be out of the norm, to put it mildly. But it felt very much like if you've watched any of Donald Trump's close advisors appearing on not Fox News, like Stephen Miller or something, they're there, and it's like they're there to have a good time, and then suddenly they raise their voice and they get very stern and they start berating. That's what the J.D. Vance exchange felt like as I was watching it. My bigger question, though, about the broader world order as Donald Trump again cozying himself up to Vladimir Putin, and your point was so well taken that if you're a foreign leader and you're walking into one of these scenarios, this could be you at any moment. You had Macron there earlier this week. You had Keir Starmer there yesterday. Now you have Zelensky on the phone with, Mark Rutte of NATO, and you have him talking to the French President Macron. You have to wonder what's being discussed behind the scenes, because Zelensky, if he was sorry about this or if he was worried about this, it doesn't appear like he is. That tweet that he sent out almost feels like it's goading J.D. Vance, saying thank you over and over again. Here it is right there.
You want an apology? Here it is. I'll thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So is he looking for an invite again back to the White House to get this deal done, or are they in discussions now to go at this alone without the United States?
I think they're figuring it out as they go along. I've been speaking with President Zelensky's office for the last several years. And I've been speaking to them again during this period of Trump diplomacy, where Trump has decided to end the war. And when it came to the discussions in Saudi Arabia, when it came to the minerals deal, it has all been chaotic. They didn't know that they weren't going to go to that meeting in Saudi Arabia. President Zelensky found out about it in the media. They didn't know how this was going to play out when they rejected the minerals deal, which, by the way, was offered to them in a non-negotiable way. They were given the deal and said, you have an hour to sign it, and if you don't sign it, you're in deep trouble. Trump is going to be angry. They didn't know that was going to be coming. So each day they're trying to play catch up here. And I think Europe is very much the same way. You're saying, is Europe, have they made a definitive decision on, are they going to break away with the U.S.? It's a work in progress. There were just key elections in Germany that saw the right wing backed by the Trump administration directly with Vance and Elon Musk personally stumping for the far-right candidate. The far-right didn't win, but it came in second place in a position that it could potentially in the future take over a much greater role in German politics and in European politics. So to answer it, I think they are trying to figure it out in real time with a leader who is behaving very differently than he did in 2016.
Yeah, absolutely. Richard Engel, thank you very much. Masa Geshen, thank you to you, and also to Peter Baker. Jake Sherman, stick around for a second. We have to sneak in a quick break, and we have Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton on the other side. We're going to get to both of them. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the breaking news here on MSNBC.
You might know Harbor Freight for affordability. You might not know.
These generals just give us a reason. Of course, Hegseth hasn't been able to give a reason. He hasn't responded to that bipartisan letter. But the bottom line is that the vast majority of Republicans in Congress, despite totally agreeing with me on this, despite sitting with me at a table with Zelensky at the Munich Security Conference just 2 weekends ago, and 100% agreeing that we need to continue supporting Ukraine. Despite all of that, they're just so scared of Donald Trump that they won't do anything. So let's praise Mike Lawler and Don Bacon for doing the right thing. But since when is it such a sign of courage that you're simply able to stand up for America? That's how low the Republican Party has gotten.
Congressman Seth Moulton, thank you so much for sticking around for us. We appreciate it. And still with us is Punchbowl News co-founder and MSNBC political contributor Jake Sherman. Jake, thank you to you as well for sticking around a little longer. Let's talk a little bit more about Congress. I know you have thoughts about the way that Zelensky came into the Oval Office, but I'm curious about what we've seen from Congress. This was a Congress 4 short years ago that was pretty much in line, unified against Vladimir Putin. Republican Party unified against Vladimir Putin for the most part. Not any longer.
No, and I'll say this, not judging
any of the propriety or impropriety of what happened in the Oval Office. I could just say from the people I've talked to in the last couple hours that Zelensky's allies on Capitol Hill on the Republican side, remember, Republicans have control of everything, they are dwindling fast. I mean, for Lindsey Graham to come out, and I understand he is incredibly loyal to Donald Trump, for Lindsey Graham to come out and say what he said means that the dam is going to start to break. Roger Wicker, who was at a meeting this morning with the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, at a meeting this morning with Zelensky, a small meeting that Republicans and Democrats had with Zelensky, deleted a tweet of a photo that he had with Zelensky saying it was an important meeting, you know, all the things that senators say about meetings that they've had. I would not be surprised when Congress comes back to this building on Monday to just hear across the board that the except from a notable few, that Zelensky's allies up here are going to be far fewer than they were earlier this week, and it was already pretty tenuous this week with the far right of the Republican conference in the House and Senate. It's just going to be, we're going to see a real fleeing because of loyalty to Donald Trump, and because that's the main reason, but also because I think, listen, I always tell people, Katie, you got to deal with the government you have, not the government you want. The government we have is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is, in many ways, very complicated, but in a lot of ways, the most easily readable person on planet Earth. You know what you have to do to make the guy happy. And Zelensky didn't do it. And that's the crux of it. It's what I've heard from countless Republicans in the foreign policy space over the last couple hours.
Yeah, I know that, and I think Zelensky probably knew full well that that's what he needed to do. So I question why he didn't do it and why he's coming out with that tweet that seems to be goading them. So it does feel like we're in a strange new world with a real definitive break here. We'll see. Everything can always change, but this feels like an inflection point. Jake Sherman, really good to have you. Thank you for sticking around. We will be right back. We've got more expertise on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Again, an inflection point.
Consumer Cellular is lowering the price for those 50 and up. Get 2 unlimited lines for $30 each. That's just $60 a month. So switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage satisfaction. Visit consumercellular.com today.
Got eyelid itching, crusties, and swelling that won't go away? It could be
Demodex blepharitis, and we're Demodex mites. We're very common and super irritating to your eyelids, but we love
Call with Macron, with Mark Rutte of NATO. Do you see there being a more definitive break between the EU and the UK and the United States? Do they start trying to go this alone? Can they go this alone?
Can they is a very tough question, and the answer is no, not immediately. Will they is a very different one. I think this is where, your first question to me about not paying too much attention to TV, or at least the reality TV of these dramatic moments, that this is a good time to come back to that. All of this could be forgiven and forgotten. You never know. I mean, in sort of the dramatic kind of TV world of Trump, we are just meant to be paying attention to all of this. And so there could be twists and turns to come. I think, Zelensky acknowledges now that he misstepped really in the performance of what was expected here. And you can see that already from his tweet afterwards, in which he thanked Trump and Vance. He thanked the American people. He's already trying to be conciliatory, or is being advised to be conciliatory. So what comes next now is probably real diplomacy. I think the lesson is that diplomacy wasn't meant to be conducted in front of billions of eyes with TV cameras in the room. We're meant to report on it as journalists. We're meant to talk about it on TV afterwards. But it's not meant to be seen by the world in the way that we just saw.
It's usually not. Usually a president has the foreign leader next to them. They take maybe one question that is screamed out from the press. It's a shaking hands, a hello to the cameras, here we are, and the press leaves. But Donald Trump has changed that. He holds court. He wants these events to be made for TV. He wants to be answering questions from the press. He extends them out. It's just not like anything any other president had done in the past, even what Donald Trump was doing the first 4 years of his presidency. Robbie, really good to have you. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. Next, let's talk about the minerals and the deal that Donald Trump wanted. He seemed to really want that deal for minerals. Does he still want it so bad, and why exactly does he want it? There's another angle on this. Don't go anywhere.
Doesn't want to take just any deal. The man said he would resign if it meant peace, but it can't mean a ceasefire. It has to mean a lasting peace. And I do think he was baited a little bit. And I think that, they're putting all this on Zelensky. You're causing World War III. It's not for the Ukrainians to stop World War III. It's for the Ukrainians to stop advances by Russia. And that's what he's trying to do.
Oh, it's for NATO to stop World War III if it's going to get started by Russia. That's
right.
Why NATO was established. Let's talk about the minerals,
Exactly.
though. And let's get into that, because I think Elise is right. Donald Trump does seem to really want this minerals deal. It does beg the question why he would blow up this meeting if he does really want it as bad as he claims he does. Why does he believe that the minerals of Ukraine are so essential?
Look, Katie, we are living right now in an age of economic warfare in which, of course, the U.S. is deploying sanctions against other countries, but other countries are deploying sanctions against us. And for China, the most important weapon they have against the United States are these critical minerals. For most of the critical minerals we're talking about, graphite, lithium, China is the dominant player. And so I think for Trump, he sees Ukraine potentially as a way to get around that and to insulate the United States from Xi having leverage over him. And I think that it is actually a smart move to try to invest in an ally as opposed to being dependent on China. And so that's why the thing that really kills me about this display that we saw in the Oval Office today, it's not just bad for our alliances with the Europeans, but I think it's really a gift to Xi Jinping.
Really? Okay, put a pin in that. We're going to come back after a very quick break. We'll understand a little bit more why it's a gift to Xi Jinping. Don't go anywhere.
Sonia, Erlene, and Marcia are among the thousands of real women living with metastatic breast cancer doing what they love and taking Ibrance. Ibrance, with an aromatase inhibitor, is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative metastatic breast cancer as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ibrance plus letrozole significantly delayed disease progression versus letrozole alone. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening chest pain, cough, or trouble breathing. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are nursing, pregnant, or plan to be, all medical conditions you have, and about all the medicines you take. For more information about side effects, talk to your doctor. These are real women taking Ibrance. Ask your doctor about Ibrance.
Liberty Mutual is all she talks about since we saved hundreds by bundling our home and auto insurance.
Hey kid, it's pronounced Liberty.
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 Liberty. Now she's mocking me. Very mature.
Hey, that's enough, you two.
Hey, I'm not the one acting like a total baby.
She's two.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty. Liberty.
It's time. Yes, the time has come for a fresh approach to dog food. Every day, more dog people are deciding it's time to quit the kibble and feed their dogs fresh food from the farmer's dog. Made by vets and delivered right to your door, precisely portioned for your dog's needs. It's an idea whose time has come.
That's $225 for the night.
Not bad. $155 for the night. How? It's easy when you know where to look.
Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to 40%. Hotel Trivago.
Here I am, field trip chaperone.
Before preventing migraine with Qulipta, it was hard keeping plans.
And look at me now.
You'll never truly forget migraine, but Qulipta reduces attacks, making more zero migraine days possible.
Don't take if allergic to Qulipta. Get help right away for serious allergic reactions like trouble breathing, face slip, or tongue swelling, itching, or rash, which may occur when taking Qulipta or days after. Common side effects include nausea, constipation, and sleepiness.
Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Qulipta, the forget you get migraine medicine.
demonstrator in the house. Find the leak.
Who's the suspect?
Your wife.
I can feel when you're watching me. I like it. Listen, it's Catherine. Do you really think you can do it? Would you kill for me?
Black bag. Rated R. Only appears March 14th with special engagements in Dolby.
Jordan's sore nose let out a fiery sneeze, so Dad grabbed a Puffs Plus lotion to soothe her with ease. Puffs Plus lotion is gentle on sensitive skin and locks in moisture to provide soothing relief. A nose in need deserves Puffs indeed. America's #1 lotion tissue.
Muscle cramps were keeping me up at night, so then I tried Slomag, the magnesium plus calcium supplement that helps relax tense muscles so I can rest comfortably. And Slomag tablets have a slow-release formula that's gentle on my stomach. That's why I use Slomag.
It's odd how, in an instant, things can transform. Slipping out of balance into free fall.
Stock market is now down 23%.
This is happening, people. There are so few certainties. As we navigate a future unknown. I'm glad I found stability amidst it all. Gold. Standing the test of time.
When bad allergies attack, trust Claritin to keep you in the game. Nothing has proven more powerful for continuous non-drowsy allergy relief. Live Claritin Clear.
Back with Elise and Ed. Ed, you were just talking about how this was a gift to Xi Jinping. Explain.
So look, what I'm arguing in my book Choke Points, Katie, is that China has a vice grip over the U.S. economy right now with its dominance of critical minerals. And the question is, do we want to be that dependent on China, or would we rather be dependent on a reliable ally like Ukraine? And so I think that Trump is actually really hazarding quite a bit when he's treating Zelensky the way he did in the Oval Office.
That is a very interesting take. All right, Elise, we have a minute left. Button it up for us.
Well, I mean, it's not just on the mineral wealth, it's on everything he's doing. He says that China is this focal point of his foreign policy, but whether it's the gutting of the government, abandoning Europe, USAID, it's all this soft power, and it's really making America weak, more vulnerable, having less influence on the world stage. And these countries were already hedging their bets. If they stopped seeing America as reliable and say, I might as well go with China, who's predictable, then that really weakens the U.S. further. So I think it's both economic and political.
And just in the last couple minutes, Congressman Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania is the third Republican to come out and say that they're not happy with what they witnessed. In fact, he called it heartbreaking to witness. Elise, just one final thought on Republicans in Congress. Is this the new order, that whatever Donald Trump says goes, no matter if it's anathema to what they formerly believed?
I mean, I think we've already been seeing that happen. I think it's going to continue, and I do think it's really going to be to Europe to stand by Zelensky right now, and we'll have to see if America gets nervous about that. But I do think we're going to see the Republicans continue to talk against Zelensky and in favor of what Trump did.
All right, Elise and Ed, thank you very much. Go out and buy Ed's book, Choke Points. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's going to do it for me today. Deadline White House starts after this quick break.
Safe light repaired. Safe light replaced.
Nobody likes a cracked windshield. But at least you can go to safelight.com and schedule a fix in minutes.
Can confirm. Very easy.
SafeLight can come to you for free, and our highly trained techs can replace your windshield right at your home.
Safe light repair, safe light replace.
Go to safelight.com and schedule a replacement today.
I'm a patient guy, but searching for a hotel? Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to 40%. Look how easy that is. Now I can relax. Hotel Trivago.
If you're living with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis or active psoriatic arthritis, symptoms can sometimes hold you back. But now there's Skyrizi, so you can be all in with clear skin. With Skyrizi, you can show up with 90% clear skin. And if you have psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi can help you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Don't use allergic serious serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight that may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Now's the time. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie can help save.
Wow. Incredible. Amazing. My go-to is Lumify eye drops. Lumify dramatically reduces redness.
In 1 minute.
And look at the difference. My eyes look brighter and whiter for up to 8 hours. Lumify, it's kind of amazing. See for yourself.
You've got a subscription for streaming movies and music, maybe even one for food. But what about when it's your water line that's streaming? Repairs are expensive. Good contractors hard to find. The plan from HomeServe is like a subscription for peace of mind. For one small monthly fee, when a covered system breaks, we'll send a qualified contractor and pay for the repair. Why worry? Get HomeServe and chill.
Plans from HomeServe start at just $4.99 a month.
Call 1-833-735-4495 or visit homeserve.com.
All right, team, saddle up. I want Q1 full index reports by desk by noon.
Are you getting any of this?
Yeah, Otter's got the meeting notes. I'll ask it for action items in the channel. And Maria already asked for a budget reminder. Smart.
Got it?
Got it, boss.
Otter, you got this. Right now, enjoy a massive 80% off your entire first order at Fabletics. We've got everything you need to look and feel fabulous. Don't miss out. Get 80% off your entire first order when you sign up as a new VIP. Only at Fabletics.com.
Hi there, everyone. It's 4 o'clock in New York on an enormous day of news. We come in the air hours after an Oval Office ambush of an American ally that will reverberate all around the world and stain America's image for years to come. What was meant to be a photo op with our ally, Ukraine's president, part of a visit in which President Zelensky was to sign a deal over his country's minerals and in return security support for Ukraine. It revealed instead of Donald Trump and a J.D. Vance clearly on an errand for Vladimir Putin. Trump and Vance berating Zelensky in public for the entire world to see after Zelensky pointed out the facts of how the war in Ukraine started. Here's what happened.
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you see what problems we have?
I have been to. I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people in your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't know. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
a lot of times.
No, in this entire meeting, you said thank you.
Today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What will we do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything anything. What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that.
The message sent to our allies and our adversaries by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance is now loud and clear, unmistakable. The pro-Putin stance of America's president and vice president, undeniable, unequivocal, completely out of step, not just with the American public. Just 9% of all Americans think Vladimir Putin is to be trusted, according to one recent poll, but also out of step, at least before today, with the Republican Party and his own cabinet. Here's Donald Trump's current national security advisor and current Secretary of State.
Zelensky and the Ukrainians are clearly showing the will to fight. I do believe he's turning out to be a modern-day Winston Churchill.
No matter what, there always has to be a real, legitimate Ukrainian state that we have a relationship with. And I don't know why we can't begin to openly say we will support them as long as they are willing to fight, even if it's an insurgency.
That was then. Today's today. Here's what happened after the Oval Office ambush, a press conference between President Zelensky and Donald Trump that was scheduled for later this afternoon was abruptly canceled. Video here shows Zelensky leaving the White House. Trump officials telling NBC News that mineral deal was not signed. Trump lashed out at Zelensky on social media, saying that he can, quote, come back when he's ready for peace, end quote. Unsurprisingly, the public berating of the leader of a nation that the entire world understood to be an American ally is being celebrated in Moscow tonight. New York Times reporting this, quote, Russian state media are savoring what they describe as